And we're off. Good morning. What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? We are kicking it off. Turn this on. There we go. Whew. And there we go. Got a little fire going. Oh, absolutely, Bale. I responded to your comment. Yeah, we are absolutely getting to you. Just as an FYI, Stephanie works a corporate job too. So sometimes it's a little slow in response because she is working a second job. So, but your marble, your sphere is 100% all set for you. You're all good to go. It looks beautiful. I think it's kind of cool, actually. What's up, Fidel? And that's sitting on her desk right now as a reminder, too, to message you about it. Sand$, what's up? Sorry, this is going to be crunchy for a moment. Mentos gum in the beginning is a little crunchy. All right, we do want to try a few things here. I do want to process this view a little bit. I'm going to change it up just a touch. What do you think? I think that's close enough still. Right about there. I'm going to set it up for the... I'm just trying to adjust the camera a little. I think that's still close enough. But we should be okay. Yeah, I think that view is pretty good. What the hell was that? I think I got a squirrel in here. So good morning. How are you guys? We are all set to go. Yeah. Just making sure all the streaming stuff is good. We're all good. So I am going to try a version of this today, right now, actually. This is a marble that I really like. I don't think it has uranium in it, though. Oh, it does. Holy crap. So let me show you on the side view what I want to kind of go with. We're going to come out here to the side. I've been wanting... This has the uranium running through it. So it's got these little uranium swirls running through. But then it looks like that most of the time. Has just this world of chaos to it. And then you have the uranium swirl running through. So I think I want to try another version of this before we go too far. And see how we look with it. First thing this morning, because this is going to be something I want to repeat multiple times. I really like it. And then the other thing I want to make is a uranium marble with the opals running through it. We'll go side view one more time. I'm sorry we're doing side view so much first thing in the morning. Like this has the opals running through it. And the camera has a hard time picking up all the colors. It's not showing the opals the way it should. But they are in there super green. But in reality, it's not showing it as well. Well, maybe you can see them better without a light. Anyway, I want to do the opals in there in clear with uranium highlights. So those are kind of some stuff on my agenda for right now. And let's go ahead and get started. First things first, we got to finish off the rose we did last night. This is that really beautiful cobalt and gold version. Last side view, I promise. You can see those. It's like a beautiful purple gold color. I love that coloring. It just looks really nice. We're going to trim this off and get this started. So this is the last process when I'm done at the end of the day with these. Bring them out, make sure everything is A-OK with the flower itself. That's way too big. And then we trim it to the right size. Get it rounded out. Make sure we're set on the numbers. Okay. A little bit more. ½ inch. And these have to be spot on or they don't fit in the box very well. These aren't right exactly at the right size. If any indents happen on the box, it can create a push against the flower itself. But there, yeah, that's from last night. We'll put that off to the side. Somewhere safe up here. Out of the way. There we go. Okay, so let's start on making the like chaotic marble. We're going to get this guy done. I'll bring it up close and see if we can even show it. So this is the guy we're working on. Just come under here. Has a lot of color to it. Doesn't show it right away, but when you have the light source on it, it is just intense. We're going to work on that. Let's go ahead and get started. Then after I finish that, we'll probably get into the production of flowers. We got to get those in and out, get them out of the way. Okay, we're going to take that. Oh, man. There's a lot of glass going to the waste. What's up, Dragonfly? Hello, everybody. Good morning. Don't blow up. Where did I get my flashlight? That was given to me by a subscriber. Sent it to me. What's up, Daisy Girl? Doing good. Crystal. Yeah, that flashlight was given to me by a subscriber. All right, we're going to attach a little here. So I'm going to try and reuse as much of this thick glass as possible. I don't throw this stuff away at all. We recycle as much as I can. And unfortunately, this stuff doesn't break down. If you try to make frit out of it, it doesn't break down very well. It definitely doesn't break down. Okay, that should be good. We're going to park that in the kiln. Let it warm up. And I've got one more over here we need to deal with. And then we'll be able to get started. All right, we're just going to add a little bit of oomph to this. It's got a little... All right, hold on one second. You can't see it, but this has a little chunk of glass in there that's not good. Even though they come from the factory and they're supposed to be perfect all the time, they are far from perfect all the time. Every once in a while you'll get one that has a little tiny seed of sand in there. It's not often. But it does happen. There we go. That's much better. We're going to let this settle up, put it in the kiln. And in the meantime, we'll start on the next marble. Make sure it's not bending. Okay, we're all good. And we'll prep that in there. Okay. We're going to use a little glow-in-the-dark glass on this one. I'm going to try and punch it up a little bit as far as durability and make it have a little bit of a UV glow to it. Not quite sure it's going to work because we're going to dilute the heck out of it. Use this end. All right. All right, so we got the drill prepped. Let's get going. Oh, crap, we're on the big view. We're on the close-up. Sorry. Damn it. There we go. That's better. What's up, L to the B? How are you? We're going to be making a really cool marble. It is what I consider like a chaos marble. Why is a seed and bad? Glass sand. Yeah, so there's a little seed in there of sand that if it's in there, it hasn't fully melted in to the raw glass, meaning it hasn't broke itself down. And it might be because it contains a chunk of iron or it contains a chunk of a metal that isn't conducive to melting with the glass. So eventually that little seed would create a problem down the road with cracking or just looking bad in general if it was all clear. So those little seeds in there, when you get them, I remove them. Because if it wasn't going to melt at the factory, it's certainly not going to melt with me. So it depends on what it is. Could have a little chunk of, like I said, iron or titanium or something in there that is preventing it from actually fusing in. All right, we're going to take it in here and start rolling in the glow-in-the-dark glass. I'm not doing this to get it to glow in the dark. I'm doing it to kind of create this muted white base to it. So what's going to happen with this glass, this is glow-in-the-dark glass powder. And it will glow under black light, and it will also glow in the dark by itself. And if I left it like this, it would glow like crazy. But we're going to dilute it down, so we're going to probably mix it down about 20 to 1. And then it's not going to glow. There's not going to be enough material to actually make it glow in the dark. But it is going to create an off-white color. And this makes a beautiful white that isn't available on the market in rod form. So we're going to go ahead and make it right now. I'm going to show you what the white looks like, how it acts, and you'll see the difference. I have a chunk of white somewhere around here. Just roll it in the powder like this. Build it up in layers, very small layers, like that. Just little tiny chunks of powder on there. Bring it in. And that should be enough. I think we got enough on here to make it into the white that I want. If not, I can add more. So we'll bring it in close now. You can see that it's got a little bit of white powder on there. Okay. And we're going to take our drill and mix it all up, because that powder is just literally on the outside. I'm going to leave that there for a second. I am going to zoom back out. That view is nice, but it is not quite where I want it. And I am hoping I have a shorter version of that somewhere. I don't. Alright, so right now we've got a little bit of white to it. I need to dilute it down a little bit more with the drill. Then I'll show you exactly where we're at. Fortunately, you're going to have to use a big chunk here. Because this is getting too short. We're going to separate it there. So again, right now we're just mixing down this white. This will be the base of the marble we're going to make, and then we'll proceed to make the full-blown marble. So this is kind of like the prep work. This is getting it ready. There we go. That's much better. Okay, we're going to separate it now. I got plenty on here now. Bring it down. Pull this end off. Attach that there. Got a nice look to it. And I think I've hit the white that I'm comfortable with. We're going to bring it back out. Perfect. Okay, we're going to set that down to the side. I'm going to show you what we did versus what was available before. Get rid of that though. So unfortunately for this, we're going to have to go to the side cam. I'll bring it down here. There. So these are the two whites that I had available. So this is standard, and then this is more of the transparent. You can see the density changes a tremendous amount in here. I can't hold it too close or... Dang it. There. I got this shaking around because I'm barely holding it. There's 6,000 degrees. But there's the dense white, and then there's the off-white. You can see how they have a different look to them. This almost looks shiny. And that, dense. Shiny, dense. So I want to have that shimmer to it. And that is what I'm shooting for here. So a couple thoughts we're going to get into. We're going to add in the shimmer color. We're going to do amber purple with it. And we're going to do some uranium in there. And I'm trying to think of a third color I want to pop into it. But it should look good with a white background. Move that drill before it gets in my way. So we're going to leave it out here. We'll come in close. We'll zoom in a bit. And here we go. We're going to grab the liquid metal. This is why I like the zoom part right here, though, because you guys do get a good view of this. And I don't care how consistent this is. I just want to get the color spread throughout this whole piece. like that. So we got color number 1 wrapped around it. I'm going to remove the glow-in-the-dark glass. Don't need that around. Then we're going to trail on the amber purple. We're going to go super heavy on this. There we go. We got layer number 1 on. So now you can see some of those colors bouncing around through there. Then, of course, we got to use the uranium. So we're going to pop uranium glass on there. That's what this is right here. This is the uranium. We're going to pop it in there as well. There we go. Got to get it fused on there. So now we got more of it, more colors running all the way down. I kind of want to do a little greenish in here, but I don't too. I think we need to leave this amber purple. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just going to use these colors. I can come back to it later. How's everyone doing today? Anyway, sorry I couldn't pay attention to chat too much. I am kind of jamming through on here. Sometimes I do have to focus on the flame. We're just going to stripe this down, straight up and down. So this is going to lock the color in place. This prevents it from kind of falling off because those little coils on there are not completely fused to the main item. They're just kind of hanging on. They're stuck but not fused. If they cool off too fast, they can just pop right off. I'm not worried about missing a tiny bit of color, but when that popping happens, they can fly at your hand. And while it's too cold for the glass item, it's still 1600 degrees. And if those little bits hit your hand, it will burn it. Now, it's not a big bad burn, but it sucks. We're making a kind of a newer marble design. The design itself isn't new, but the color scheme is. So right now, we just got a bunch of color. It makes no sense right now, and it's not supposed to. Okay, this is just the prep work. I'm going to pop out for a minute, then we'll zoom back in, okay? So we're popped out at the moment. And I'm going to start kind of blending this color, and I'll show you what the difference between what's happening and what's not. So this is the process of creating little tiny micro swirls in the glass. It's something I've dubbed finger painting with molten glass. I don't know if anybody else uses that term, but it's the best way I can describe it. It's like literally finger painting with molten glass. And what my objective is to kind of get it to look like little oceanic swirls running through, tide pools, that type of thing. We're going to come down to the side view. So there it is, pre-finger painted, and then there we have the finger painting like that. So we take it from that to that. What's up, Ray? And there. So now you can see how the colors are swirling around versus that. So we got the colors kind of bouncing through that way. And we're going to zoom in a little bit so you guys get a better view of that process now. And it is literally just kind of drawing these tiny little micro swirls in there. And you want to overlap on top of each other. And one more little section, I'll show you where we're at. There we go. So now we have multiple swirls, and then there again is the I only have a little bit left to go. There's what it looks like prior, and then current. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up. Now there is one color in here that takes a while for it to actually show up, called amber purple. It needs to sit in a kiln for a while in order for the color to kind of grow. Last little bit here. There we go. Okay, we can come to the side view. I can show you guys where we're at with it. So this is what it looks like in its molten state. And then when we hit it with the light, you can see the colors are a little bit more vibrant as we start coming through. It's just very chaotic, whimsical, fun. Bring it back up. And we're going to pop back out. All right, so from here, we're going to start changing into forming it into an actual marble. Thank you very much for the heart news, by the way. So we're going to start using the marble mold over here. This is where the magic happens. This is where all the magic is going to happen. We're going to take this, create a tiny little microscopic swirl up here. I should probably show the side view for this just because it looks really cool. I can't help myself on these. They just look amazing to me. So you can see the little spiral at the very tip there. I like that. I always like those little spirals. Let me get it hot one more time. So we got those little spirals happening. You can see it right about there. It's in its beauty. And you hit it with the light like that. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start using the mold. Get this thing pulled up. And while I got a moment, we're going to go ahead and use the filter. We'll zoom in for a moment. And this is the material my glasses are made out of. My lenses are made out of a material called digidium. And that is how I see the world, like that. That's what I see, and then that's natural light versus filtered. Okay, so we're coming through. We're going to melt everything in. We're going to just start breaking it down. We're going to zoom out because we will be going into the mold, which is a cool process. So the molds are made out of graphite, or basically a highly condensed version of pencil lead. Graphite is one of the very few materials that won't stick to glass. No matter how much you try and fuse it to glass, it will not blend, ever. So it's a nice material to make tools out of. The problem is, just like pencils, or the little lead pencils, it's very brittle and fragile. So it does have its complete drawbacks. And then we just start shaping it out like that. Here we go. A little bit more. Okay, we're letting gravity do all the work. Perfect there. And each one of these molds is a different size. In order to get this super round, you want to go into a smaller size little curvature there so that the marble runs around the whole rim. If I tried to fit it right into a mold and you pressed it 2 times, one on one side, one on the other, it would create kind of like a ridge around the outer portion. And then you got a little seam, and you don't want a seam. Okay, we're going to transfer this punty to the other side. Punty meaning holding rod. There we go. And we're going to cut it off here and again create another little swirl at the opposite side. Okay. Now we got all this little chunk down here. Makes no sense. We'll show you on side view. Then we'll correct it right after. So down here, nothing makes sense. It's not organized. You can see on the front, it's just a blob of nothing. We're going to create a little swirl on the bottom down there. Now, it's not technically the bottom. It could be the top. Doesn't matter. There's not really a top and bottom to this guy. Take that and just buzz it in. And we got a beautiful little spiral. Going to bring it back. And now you can see that spiral right there. Kind of has that Nightmare Before Christmas look spiral. And we're back at it. Now we're at the finishing stage. I like this part. So I try not to force the glass with the mold. I really like to have it naturally form and pop down on its own. I think every time I try and force the glass for me, it doesn't work out that well. It doesn't have the design, the style that I like. And just letting the glass naturally flow works a heck of a lot better for me. Some people can manipulate it. I don't. It's not to say they're wrong. It's just a different style. So see, we're pretty close now. We have that kind of egg shape. Now I feel comfortable going to the mold and getting it smoothed out perfectly. So we bring it over. You can do it with even 2 fingers. Just the weight of the glass again should be enough to make it start forming its round shape. Perfect. I'll show you an interesting part about this right now. I'm going to bring it down. So right now you're going to see, I'm going to show you this hot spot. You're going to see a swirl in here, but when I show the light, it's going to show nothing. I'm going to bring it down. See that swirl in there, right there? Okay, it's going to fade now. Now, if I hit it with a light, it looks very blank. Okay, this is why this color is really cool. See how blank that is? I'm going to heat it up again. Bring it back down. when this goes in the kiln, that little color swirl that you saw right there will morph into like an amber purple color. It's going to be ambery and purpley. It hasn't hit there yet because it's not finished. I don't want that. And what I mean by that is the color needs to sit in a kiln at 1100 degrees. It can be 1050, but I like 1100. It needs to sit in there for a while. The longer it sits, the more the color grows. It gets stronger and stronger over time. And that's why I'm doing this first thing in the morning really early. So it has all day to sit in there. And then it's just going to be a beautiful transition. Okay, on the other side here, it was kind of round, but right now it is egg-shaped. I'm going to bring it over. I'll show it to you. I don't know if you'll notice it. I don't know if anybody's going to catch it. But I'll try anyway. Have to do it from side view though. So if you look from bottom to top, minus that little bump, you can see it's a little, at the very top, it's a little more narrow. It's not quite as round as the bottom. And to me, that's an egg shape. It just has a millimeter or two off, probably about 2 millimeters. So it's not right there. So we're gonna fix that right now. And just get it round. I could not leave it like that. Some people are okay with that tolerance. I'm not. We just get it molten. We bring it back over to the mold and start rounding that out. Still there, just by a little bit. Just a tiny bit. There we go. Smooth that out. One last run right here. And we're good to go. This looks good. I'll bring it back in front of the camera for you and y'all can see it. Now you can tell it is a perfect sphere. No more egg shape, no more malfunctions with it. It's got a really good look. We'll hit it with the light. You guys can start to see some of those colors morphing through. Again, it's not showing everything right now. It'll be twice as much color very soon. But there we have that kind of shiny metal metallic-y look. Like that. Bring it out here, and we're going to zoom in on this process. This is the tool by Dragonfly Creation. If you are a glassblower, you do not have this tool, you're missing out. You absolutely, this should be mandatory. I would recommend this for anybody starting out with glass, because it doesn't just work for marbles. It also works for Christmas ornaments. Everything that's round. Okay, we're going to grab it here and pop. Off comes that. Now, it's not just a marble holder. It also works for Christmas ornaments and all that. How long did it first learn how to make a proper bubble? I probably spent 6 months trying to make a proper bubble. It wasn't easy. I didn't have anybody to show me glass blowing. So my mother and father were both sculptors. Okay, they did sculpting like the jellyfish and animals and things like solid. Neither one did actual glass blowing. So glass blowing I had to learn on my own. And I didn't have anybody to teach me that process. Sorry, we're going to let that go in the kiln real quick. So I ended up getting this book. Right here. This book is very old, okay? Not all the information in it is correct, okay? If you see this book, it's a great book, Homer Hoyt. Not everything in here is conducive to today's society and making glass, okay? Like using asbestos for a countertop, or some of the materials they talk about using in there. But the instructions on how to make a bubble are correct. So I learned from that book, and it took a lot of practice. And the most important part I can emphasize from any glass person, any glass blower whatsoever, we're just going to do it right now, is making a point. This is the starting basis of all glass blowing in this form, okay? Now, some people prefer to take a glass rod, like a solid tube that's like between 9 and 12 millimeters, and attach it to a bigger one. That's doable, but I don't think it's the best way. This is old school. This is like Italian, Venetian, Murano style right here. And this involves the process of heating it up and pulling what's called a point. This is the point right here, okay? You take it from a large tube, pull it to a point. That's why it's called that. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm creating the next blow tube off of the main tube here. The larger chunk turns into my blow tube. And it reduces a lot of time of having to take another little tiny tube and attaching it in. In fact, we may do that. Okay, so we're going to take this, and then you stretch very slow, extremely slow in the beginning, like this. I mean, you can even have it like that to start with. And then you slowly start to pull. As it starts cooling down, you give it a little more tension, more tension, more tension. Start keeping it level. Now, I use my bench in front of me. I watch the edge of my bench versus that glass rod. I'm looking at both of them at the same time, keeping it on the horizon. And now I have a straight point. Then we separate it here. Like that. Now, if this is wobbly, like if I'm rotating it around and this thing's crooked, then your whole piece is going to start off crooked. You don't even have a chance. So learning to do this process is the most important thing to do, and you're starting out. And I would recommend doing tiny little bubbles. I mean, like small, 1 inch. Don't do this much. This is too big to practice with. But learn to do that. And blowing a perfect bubble turns out a lot better. It's definitely a better process. Now, the other method, yeah, I do have it. Let me see if I can preheat this a little. No, we'll do it this way. Okay. The other method that people will talk about and show, we're just going to burn this off. I didn't intend for this to be a glassblowing tutorial, but why not? The other method that people go through is they start off with a tube like this, okay? Got a flat end, or kind of like a closed end. They take this giant tube, they heat it up, and I'm not saying this is wrong, I'm just saying it is a lot longer, okay? Take this, you have to open it up. Okay, you can do it by picking it open, or you can take it this way and blow it open. Either way. Then you have to take this, open the hole up, so it's big enough. There we go. Then you take an open tube, a smaller one. Okay, this one's big. This is 16 mil, but I'm not going to go looking for anything else. So this is like a 16 mil tube. And then you got to take it like this. Got to heat both ends up. Get them gooey and push them together like that. Then you got to heat it up here. Get that weld on there perfect. About like that. Try and keep it balanced. Not like that. Then you got to cut it off again. Now I'm going to pull this to a point because I don't like doing that other process. Versus this. Okay. There, I'm already done. 30 seconds in and I'm done. Versus that process, which to me is counterproductive. There's two things that I hate about this. Number one, you still have to get that level there. Let me bring it in. Still have to get that little spot right there fused properly. Okay, it has to be super sealed. Now, number two, when these larger rods get down to about here, no longer can use them. They're unusable for a point. So most of these people take these 6 inches of glass and they throw it away. They don't do anything with it. They just literally throw them away as they can't figure out what the hell to do with them. So you're wasting 6 inches of tube, and every time I cut this off, it's going to be shorter, and you're wasting all that. And it takes 3 times as long. I bet you I could have made 3 points in the time it took me to do this. But some people prefer this method, and that's perfectly fine. If that's the route you want to go, I can't knock you for it. You know, it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to say you're doing it wrong, because technically you're not. It's just different method. You know, I'd never criticize someone for doing this. It's just different than what I do. Now, I will speak a little bit about when this is advantageous. I'm going to pop that open. So the only time I attach tubing to a larger tube, so this method that I just did here, if I'm using a 50 millimeter, like a 2-inch round tube with a very thick wall, I will do this method, because when you try to pull a point, it's not strong enough to hold that massive amount of glass. So then you would want to use a system like this. That's why I said it's not necessarily wrong. But if you're doing a big chunk of glass, you don't want to have a thin little point on there. But for normal, yeah, no thanks. It's best to be able to know how to go both ways. There we go. Just like that. So anyway, that's method 2. And then I always take little bits like this so you guys can see this little crack. Bring it up close. I don't try and fix this stuff. See the crack right there? Technically you could fix it, but it's not worth it. Just simply take it, tap, and it pops off. Then it's clean. Okay, we're going to fuse a little holding rod on here real quick. So I can use this later. The bubble that came out after he blew the glass was a little funny. Yeah, that is a trash bubble. So that's called bubble trash. It is super thin. It cools off almost instantaneously. And it's not something you want floating around your bench. It's literally like less thick than cellophane. Okay, so again, this is part of recycling. Take a small rod, attach it to a big chunk, then I can use this whole thing later. So yeah, it's doing good. Okay, I need 10 minutes. I need to log off for 10 minutes. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to create videos off of the live streams. And I want to do a video of that marble from start to finish. But trying to cut down and edit that marble from a 3-hour live stream is really hard. So let me log off here. and then I'll restart the stream in 10 minutes or less, somewhere in there. So let me log off and I'll restart the stream so that I can create a video of just that marble, and then we can go from there. So give me 10 minutes, get the stream reset up and everything all set up. But I want to start creating short videos of items actually being made, not like 50 items, shorter ones.